Hello there, I'm James Henderson, otherwise known as Joe Fisher-esque. Well, this game features another one of my own. It was played between Fareham and Cosham, who were basically arch rivals. I was playing white and my opponent, Mr. Pluchards, was playing black. I thought it was a very interesting game, and again this game is featured in Fareham Chess Club's archives. So the game started with e4 from myself, e6 from Mr. Puchards, d4, d5, standard French. I sized my opponent up at the board and I thought he looked very nervous, and I thought I was going to be direct and basically go for the throat straight away. So that was my feeling about him. He didn't look up for the game, if you know, so that's how I felt at the time. So we have e5, c5, c3, knight c6, knight f3 and queen b6. So, how to continue? I actually thought about moves like b4 here, but I played safe. I thought, no, play safe first. Bishop e2, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, and now knight h6. So, yes, the bishop can take the knight, but then the pawn on b2 is left hanging, and my rook as well. So, normal development, knight c3, and of course knight f5. And at the moment black is definitely ahead. But I had a surprise for him. Can you see it? It's actually this, knight b5. Which seems counterintuitive, but it actually causes black a few problems. For instance, if he plays a6, I can bring the queen out to a4, and therefore the pawn is then pinned. Also, it gives me time to defend d4 and evacuate the knight on f5. So if he played a6, I was going to play g4 anyway. In the end, my opponent played bishop b4 check, bishop d2, bishop takes bishop, and queen takes d2. So now a6 is good. But again, I was going to play g4, and then the knight jumps into d6, giving a check, advantage to myself. Black castled, and now comes the aforementioned g4. So that tempi, if you like, is in my favour, because if he retreats the knight, then I'm going to smash through my pawns. That was my plan. So we have knight h6, h3, supporting the pawn on g4, and now finally a6. And instead of playing d6, which was my original plan, I thought, no, take your time, knight c3. So look at the position. Although it's even, I think that I'm doing okay. Once I've castled, I've got two outside pass pawns, and I'm going to push them through, hopefully, to smash open black's king. That was my feeling at the time. Bishop d7, castles from myself, and king h8. It's a good move because it allows his knight to go back to g8 and then redevelop on f6. But that takes time, and in chess sometimes you don't have that sort of time. So I go straight on the counter-attack with knight a4. Puts the question to the queen. And my feeling was, if I could get my knight into c5, get rid of the light squared bishop, then I thought his light squares around b7 and a6 would be weak. So queen retreats, queen d8, and now knight c5. It's a simple but effective plan, because I'm now threatening to obviously take the pawn on b7. If he retreats the bishop back, then his rook on a8 is not part of the game, and that was my original plan. So bishop c8. So once that was done, once his rook was blocked in, it's now time to switch over towards the king. So it's now knight d3. And as you can see, I'm going to move my pieces now over towards my opponent's king. We have rook b8, it's a good move. And obviously, to stop any expansion on the queen side, just a simple but nice b4. And obviously the pawn can't be taken because obviously the queen's defending it, and also the knight on d3, which is now very centrally placed, and it's a good strong piece. So we have b6, and as you can see, black has a slight weakness at c6. So maximum exploitation, so we have rook on a c1. So I'm now attacking his knight. Bishop b7. And now knight f4. I am now going, as I say, for the throat. If I can get my knight across to h5, then maybe sacking it on g7 or even f6 with the queen coming into g5, very strong. Queen e7 and a simple but effective a3. Rook on b c8, and now it's time to carry through my plan. So we have knight h5 from myself, knight g8 and rook c3, which threatens to double rooks and again smashing through on the back rank. So we have f6, good counter-attacking move, but queen e3, we have pawn takes pawn, and now questions, knight takes e5. So this is the key move of the game. If black doesn't take my knight, it's very powerfully placed with a possible sack on g6, looking at squares on f7, so really it must be taken. Knight takes e5, and now just rook takes c8, rook takes c8, and queen takes e5. And as you can see, all of my pieces are now lining up nicely against black's king. We have knight f6 and knight f4, and the pawn on e6 is incredibly weak. If black now retreats his rook, then my rook occupies the key c file. So that was my plan. So we have rook e8, the only move really, and now of course a simple but effective rook c1, threatening rook c7. So we have bishop c8. That's a good move, that, because that's about the only way he was going to be able to defend e6 and also stop what he thought was rook c7, but I'll play it anyway. Rook c7. We have queen d8, and now rook a7. So I'm keeping my eyes on g7 all the time. If that knight moves now, obviously then it's going to be near enough mate on g7. So black is gradually but slowly being tied up. We have b5 from black, knight h5. Again, my idea was a possible sack on g7, and then the queen comes across, give and check, and then follow through with mate. So how does black go about defending his position now? Well, he actually plays knight takes h5, which was a big mistake, because you have queen takes h5, and now he played rook f8, offering me a draw, which was a little bit against chess etiquette, because as you can clearly see, white has all the aces, if you like, up their sleeve. If he plays now queen f6, then I can simply play bishop d3, and he cannot stop a mate attack. So I declined, and now I play bishop d3, and as you can see, mate cannot be stopped. The only way of stopping it is playing rook f5, and then of course a simple pawn takes rook wins. Any other move, if he plays for instance h6, and I can just play queen g6, and again mate can't be stopped. So that was my game. I believe we won the match, although I can't quite remember because it's so many years ago. And afterwards I was told that this game would go into the archive because it was a well played game. There you are, hope you enjoyed that. See you next time. Bye bye.